Hey guys, in this video I've got my buddy Phil here. We're going to talk about his first 90 days living in the Philippines and a little bit about his story of how and why he came to the Philippines. Stick around. Alright, so hey Phil, I appreciate you coming on the channel. It's
Absolutely.
I think we've known each other going on about, well, the same time I've been with my girlfriend, actually. Going on 3 months.
3 months now. It's been 3 months.
And so before we start, I'll go into the story of how we met, which actually ties into the meeting of my girlfriend. But so I guess 2.5 months or so ago, I had met my girlfriend, or I added her on Facebook, and I had messaged. And I was going to this coffee shop up in the mountains, and I had messaged her and said, "Hey, I'm going to this coffee shop up in the mountains. You want to come?" And she goes, "I don't go to coffee shops in the mountains with strangers." Actually, she's watching. And so I thought it was done and over with at that point, really. I was like, oh, she just doesn't have any interest. But looking back at it, it makes sense. I'm going to pick her up and take her up into the mountains to this coffee shop, right, in the middle of nowhere. But a couple days later, she'd messaged me and said, "Hey, I've got a couple of friends. They've got foreign boyfriends that are going to the hot springs, and I'm the only single one there. Would you like to go?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And that's when I went to pick her up, and you came outside, and
Yes.
you're like, "Gio?" I don't know.
It's funny because prior to that, it's hilarious because this was actually my first date in the Philippines when I came to the Philippines in Dumaguete. Yeah, that was my first date.
Oh, yeah.
So it was our second date, but it was our second time being together. Mm-hmm. But she was upstairs in the bedroom getting ready,
right.
And we're sitting down, and she goes, "I have one of my friends coming. He's a vlogger." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." She goes, "His name's Giovanni." I go, "Oh, really?" I go, "That'd be hilarious if it was somebody I've been following for the last 2 years, Gio in the Philippines." And she looks me dead in the eye. She goes, "It is Gio in the Philippines." I go, "Get out of town." I go, "We are not meeting Gio right now, are we?" She goes, "Yeah, he's on his way right now."
Small world.
It is. And when you get to the Philippines, it definitely is a small world, especially when you get into a military environment too. Right. You meet a lot of our fellow brothers and sisters too out here.
Because you first were in the Marines, and then you went into the Army.
In the Army, yes. So I was dual service. I did 6 years on the Marine Corps side. Then I did 4 more years on the Army side, and then Afghanistan in 2012. Wow. And now I'm here retired, living in the Philippines.
Amazing. So. And you're 48
next week.
48 next week.
Next week.
That's right. And there will be a video on that.
Stay tuned.
We go to the resort. Okay, so we met, and we ended up becoming really good buddies, and I ended up getting, that day I got a good friend, and I got a girlfriend.
Absolutely, and I got a brother, and then
exactly.
A whole slew of dating situations we're probably about to go over.
So let's back up. So you've been here going on 90 days.
Yes.
But prior to that, you were in the Philippines for 6 months.
I was in the Philippines for 6 months. I lived in Bohol.
The whole 6 months?
Just 6 months, the entire time. And it was prior to the pandemic, so really I did want to travel around, but Bohol really had a very tight lockdown. Okay. So when I was in Bohol, my intentions were to go to Cebu and go to other different areas, of course, go to Boracay, and of course I wanted to go to El Nido and just travel around, but with the pandemic, it really locked things down. Right. So I ended up staying in the same spot in Bohol, just off of Alona Beach for about 6 months.
No. A little further back, how did you choose the Philippines? Why the Philippines? What happened?
You know what? I went through the VA on a personal level. I went through some treatments for PTSD when I came back from Afghanistan. Okay. And going through that, I met somebody who was there who had a fiance in the Philippines. Okay. And while I was going through these treatments for 12 months, which honestly, truly saved my life. I mean, I appreciate the VA and love the VA. They really helped me out to have a new life for myself. Okay. But going through that, I had a buddy for 12 months who had a fiance here in Cebu, and she worked at IT Park. She was a manager at a call center, And he just started talking about the Philippines, and I started learning about it. Then I started learning about the environment in the Philippines, about the expenses in the Philippines, how much more of a lifestyle that you could have in the Philippines, obviously with military retirement. Yeah. So I just really kind of connected with that. And of course, once I learned about that, I just started researching myself. And after that, once I start researching, that's it from there on out. That was it.
Now, when you were here for the first 6 months, did you have a girlfriend, or were you just dating?
You know, I did not. I did not have a girlfriend. I was really, truly working on myself when I was in Bohol. I was going through a lot of sobriety myself, and you know, on a personal level, through PTSD, I was going through a lot of things, and for 6 months, I did not date. You know, it was really scuba diving. It was having fun, and then I started helping to feed homeless children.
Wow.
Which was awesome. A beautiful experience.
Yeah.
But with the pandemic happening, obviously that stopped. So I decided to get dog food, and I was riding my motorbike around, and I was pouring dog food on the side of the road, for stray dogs. Yeah. So, you know, once they closed down, you know, feeding as far as on the human level for the children, you know, I just started helping feeding dogs, and I was really doing it as far as growth for myself.
Sure. Yeah.
So, you know, it was something that I really loved. It was something I really loved, and unfortunately, when the pandemic hit, you know, I went back, and then, you know, the VA hospital, going through treatments, getting, you know, vaccinations, and, you know, I lived there for 2 years, and trust me, for those 2 years, all I did was dream and think about coming back to the Philippines. Wow. I mean, I love it here. I absolutely love it here.
Yeah. And so I know you're going back for a wedding, and then you're coming back and you're going to make the permanent move.
Yes. It's going to be permanent for me. I'm going back for my nephew's wedding, and I'm going to be back in Chicago, USA, for about 3 weeks. And then I'm coming back and moving closer towards the city. Yep. And then now I'm going to start getting into purchasing my own personal motorbike, which I'm renting right now through V12, one of your vlogs that I've learned through. Yeah. Even prior to meeting you is the reason. So I mean, and that's another thing too. You know, prior to meeting you, you have such good information, Gio, that, you know, I'm living proof of it. You know, here I am renting a motorbike at V12. Which I obviously had rented prior to even meeting you. So obviously you can see, you know, listeners actually do gain knowledge from, you know, the information that you pass out. So, I mean, I'm kind of living proof of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's cool that to actually meet somebody and they've actually put some of it to good use.
So, absolutely.
So, first 90 days, what's been your experience this time around? How about dating?
You know,
because this time you've been dating.
And this time, yes. This time I've been dating. Obviously, anybody who's subscribed to the channel and sees me with, I've been with a few individuals throughout the videos.
Maybe a different one sooner.
Maybe a different one sooner. Hey, stay tuned for my birthday.
Stay tuned for his new girlfriend. Okay.
But, you know, really, the one thing I would like to pass along for anybody who comes to the Philippines, and I know, you know, I've been through the military, I've been through combat, I've been around the world, and, you know, I'm turning 48 coming up here in the next week. You know, I'm not innocent, and by no means am I naive. But sometimes when you come here, you know, you get love-stricken, you know, and it falls into your brain really quickly. Yes. So, you know, the first individual I met, of course, I met on Facebook, to be quite honest with you. Yeah. So here I am looking on Facebook and seeing 23 years old, going to Silman University right here in Dumaguete, you know, has this extensive work history. Well, sometimes you can't believe everything that you see. The one thing that I would like to tell viewers is the one thing that you've helped me out with, and Maya's helped me out with as well, is, you know, sometimes you have to look at the tall tale signs. When you're asking about IDs or passports, or like a simple question, I remember that, you know, asking for, I'm like, well, you know, all you need is an ID. We're going to Secure, so just bring your college ID. Well, you know how colleges are, you know, they didn't print out my ID right away. And I understand the Philippines can be slow on some things, but your college ID is going to be printed out right away. If you're going to school, you're going to have that. And, you know, I was naive to a lot of these facts, and unfortunately, you know, you get into an issue where an individual lies, and then you see an entire family trying to use that situation for a financial advantage from an individual.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say, watch out for that.
Yeah, you should always get an ID to make sure if you have any question about age, for sure. I have found that there's a lot of Filipinos employed at the Krusty Krab. Apparently, there's a lot of Filipinos working with SpongeBob.
A lot of seafood in this area.
A lot of seafood. No, I seriously, have you ever noticed?
Yeah, I have. And it's just like I'm looking at, you look back on it and you go, oh my God, Philly.
My girlfriend's laughing.
Right now.
She knows.
Maya's almost slapping me right now.
But yeah, a lot of them they'll say like they live in a certain place. They'll say they are a certain age. They went to this college, but a lot of it's just nonsense.
It's fluff, and but the one thing that I can say is that, and we're obviously not with each other anymore. But the one thing I could say is I was able to feed an entire barangay. So
cool.
that was
cool.
absolutely amazing to watch children eat and to simply spend 20 American dollars and 1,000 peso and come with coloring books, squirt guns, and crayons and just have a slew of toys for kids. It was great to see the look on their face. So I could say there was bad in that, but you know what? There was also some good in it as well.
Right, and you guys had only met, and that was it. So that's the good thing. So
exactly.
But just got to be careful about that. Right. So we move on to you've had some other dates, and it's easy to kind of fall head over heels quickly here, right? Because they're so sweet, Filipinos, and they're so beautiful.
And you know what? And sweet and beautiful, absolutely.
Yes.
But another thing that I can say on the American side is that giving that you have from your partner. Especially for myself, the way I was raised, the way my mother raised me, the way I was in the military. If the floor needs to be swept, then you sweep the floor. If the bed needs to be made, then you make the bed. Right. But when you wake up in the morning and you go to use the CR, and you go to the bathroom, but as soon as you come out of the bathroom, the bed's made and there's breakfast laying on the table for you. It's a setback. You're looking at it going, okay, I'm really not used to this. And then after breakfast, your girlfriend's in the CR washing all of your clothes, getting ready to go outside and hang everything up. So, there's a lot of things that you have to get used to. And for somebody like myself, when I'm seeing all this, I'm like, can I help? Can I help? Can I help? And when you hear that, when you just go sit down and relax, for somebody like me, I'm chewing on the couch.
Right. It reminds me of like how my mom used to be when I was a little kid, like the guys never were really in the kitchen too much. I mean, Italian.
Italian, absolutely.
Yeah, we were paisanos, by the way. But yeah, it's very old-fashioned. It's refreshing, and it's not only that. It's not that they're cleaning the house. I mean, honestly, that's not like a big deal. It's the affection.
It's teamwork on both sides.
Teamwork, and they're just loving.
Absolutely,
girls,
And that's one thing that I really, I haven't been used to, coming over here. So dating that, just like you were saying, how you fall head over heels. When you have something like that, it's pretty easy to...
So what would be your advice to new guys coming out? You've been here first 90 days. What are some mistakes you think you've made?
The mistakes that I say I've made is, first of all, I am dating somebody new. And in future videos here, you're going to be able to see her. Okay. Look for somebody who has goals and who is a professional. A professional as far as, whether they're working a job, whether they're going towards a goal, whether they're in a certain career. Right. Moving forward towards something. Right now, here we are doing this interview, and the individual that I'm dating is currently in nursing school right now, going on her third year. And she is doing an absolutely phenomenal job. Last night, sitting here on the couch while I'm in bed, she's here at 2:30 in the morning, finishing up a case study. Wow. Look at somebody that is moving forward in some type of professional way. Right. Because really, where I got locked in, on was finding somebody that I felt I needed to take care of. You don't need to take care of anybody. Just have that mutual love. And really that's what I fell into right away. I felt that I needed to be with somebody and I needed to take care of the entire family.
Right.
Well, it doesn't have to work that way. There's many things that you can take care of, with a family, but it doesn't mean you have to take care of the entire family.
Well, and I saw a movie recently that had a really good line that I like, and it says, I want to be part of somebody's life. I don't want to be their entire life. You know what I mean? So I want them to have something else going on, and goals, and maybe work or something, something. 24/7 is too much for anybody. At some point, you want to be able to miss each other. You want to be able to look forward to seeing each other. And 24/7 is just sometimes
it gets overwhelming. There was the second individual I was dating, and she's a beautiful person. Don't get me wrong, and she's an absolute sweetheart. But there's some things that you want to be independent on. And when you walk in a room and she goes, I have your clothes laid out for you that you're going to wear tonight. I'm okay picking out my shorts and shirt. I can do that.
Those underwear are no good.
You're right. I've had those since I was 7. What are you talking about? So when you have that overwhelming, just on top of you
just
24/7. Yeah, it was. Which, like I said, I am not talking bad about anybody. It's just what everybody's individual needs are.
Right.
And like I said, I'm turning 48 next week. I'm not an invalid. I can take care of myself.
What about age?
Age. The individual I'm dating right now is going to be 29 in August.
Do you prefer what age? Because you had younger at first, which I did previously myself.
So, and that's the thing, and I followed, I'm not going to lie, I followed a lot of Gio's advice. I really was dating younger. And it's not that I was dating younger, like looking for it. It's just you find out about it later.
Yeah.
But you start seeing the maturity level at that age. Well, here I am, dating somebody right now completely, it's just an amazing individual. But she's older, she's in a profession to where prior to this, it was somebody that was younger, 21 years old. And I know a lot of viewers are going to be like, hey, 48, with somebody 21, that's a lot of guys' dreams. And maybe it is, but really, how far is it a dream till? What happens after week 2, after week 3? You're just like, okay, because that flame's going to go out. You're like, all right, this is awesome. I've been with a 21-year-old. After week 3, that's going to go out the window. Yeah. And now you're going to be sitting on the couch, you're going to be watching TV, and you want to actually have a mature conversation with somebody, and it's just not going to happen.
Right.
So I say that the biggest mistake that I could see and expect coming here is they're older, and the first thing they want to do is they want to find that younger woman. They want to be with that younger woman, which is going to happen. Whether I say yes, whether I say no, whether you say yes or no, it's going to happen.
It's kind of like the forbidden fruit that you never had. You couldn't date unless you're a multimillionaire. Unless you're a movie star, right? Yeah. So here it's possible, but again, it's taken me quite a long time to figure it out. But just early 20s is just not for me.
No,
it just doesn't. I'm not saying there's people out there that have found a girlfriend that's 21, 22, and maybe it's worked out, and that's great. But for me.
Right. And I think a prime example is like right now, the individual that I'm dating right now is currently at school, like I said, in her 3rd year of nursing school, and she's working on a case study until 1 p.m. in the library right now, and then after that, she's doing a presentation in front of the class. She's probably not going to be back here until 5:30, 6 p.m. So it really gives me my time as well during the day. If there's things that I want to do during the day, it's not that constant on top of each other.
Right.
So it's it's professional on both levels.
So another thing that we'll wrap it up with this last thing. I think another mistake was you went into an Airbnb long term.
Yes.
However, the place is fine. Right.
It is. It's just very overpriced.
It's overpriced. So you're paying, I don't know, $32K a month?
And I'll say in American prices, obviously, you can do the math here, but it's $667 a month. And, and I'll be honest, Gio has turned me on, and I'll be moving into a new place coming in July. I'll be going away for a wedding, but I'll still be coming back August 1st. And that place is going to be $10K a month. Right, which is just as nice as this place right here. Right. So here I am paying $667 a month. But for somebody that's new coming in here, you have that fear, like you're not going to have anywhere to go. Do I need to have more than 30 days? Will it take me 30 days to find something, that I'm comfortable with? Right. And I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong short term with doing Airbnb. Do 30 days Airbnb. And I can tell you, you will have plenty of time. Whether you rent a motorbike or if you have one that you purchase on your own, you're going to have time to find something in the area. And trust me when I say you'll drive up and down the road. I just saw a banner as I was going towards Valencia. 2-bedroom, 1 bath, inquire within for rent. And you see that down the road.
Yes.
But, when you're away from here, you have that fear. So it's like, I better rent this, So my thinking was, I'm going to rent this until the day I leave for the wedding in Chicago, and then I'm going to come back, and then I'll find something.
Right.
Well, obviously, different things work out, but, I had that fear that a lot of viewers may have, when they come here. I had that fear that I was going to be here 30 days and, oh my God, everything's going to be booked up. Everything's going to be packed. Where am I going to go? I'm in a third world country and I have no place to live.
Right.
It's not going to happen. No, it's not going to happen.
We'll mention one last thing, which is kind of funny. I've dragged you with me through caves, through hiking, through waterfalls, where stairs. What's the best adventure so far that you had?
You know what? Honestly,
barangay parties.
The barangay
Actually,
parties.
That was my girlfriend who took us to that.
And we've had amazing adventures, but you know what? It's the adventure of having new friends, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what? Coming to a new area and, coming alone, especially coming alone. You don't know who you're going to meet. Yeah. And I'll tell you, the world is a funny place, And here I am, somebody who was a viewer and now my very good friend here. I'm sitting on a couch with having an interview. You never know where the world's going to bring you. So to be honest with you, out of all the caves, out of all the adventures, it's having new friends that's number one for me, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
But number two was definitely when we were in a little line going through the cave and swimming. That was just... I saw a lot of the comments, and you think about it later, you're like, nah, I'd never swim through there. And I'm looking at the comments like, they're bringing up a lot of good points right now.
In that video, you can click on the link up above. And can I convince you to do any more stairs?
Stairs, you know what? I'm thinking more escalator and elevators. Which there is abundance of here in the Philippines.
Of course. Most of the waterfalls have escalators.
Right. If you go to the mall, you'll find that.
Exactly. All right, well, guys, we are going to join Phil, my girlfriend and I, and him and his girl on his birthday in another week here. And we're going to be hanging out and doing a little partying, I guess, at the resort and nice beach and margarita. So, guys, stick around for that. I appreciate it, Phil. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
I know you're on a road. Sweet honey. This ticket